Hello,
Welcome,
welcome
everyone.
everyone.
Hey
Hey,
there. How's it going? Hopefully you're having a good week. How was your Sunday? It was a void of course moon all day yesterday. So, love to know how that went for you. If it was chill or if it was like a wet blanket. um,
Samantha said that it kept her. Whoops. Samantha
Samantha
Mack
Mack
said
said
that
that
it
it
kept
kept
her
her
level-headed
level-headed
all
all
day
day
yesterday,
yesterday, even though
even though
she
she
missed
missed
the
the
Samhain
Samhain ritual.
ritual.
The
The
Samhain
Samhain
that's great.
ritual. The
the
Samhain
Samhain ritual
ritual was
was
pretty.
pretty good yesterday. We had a pretty great ritual. So we'll be trying to do a ritual just about every month. We might skip a month here soon, but for the most part, we'll be trying to do an online event once a month. And plus, unless you're in Mystics Academy, now if you're a member of Mystics Academy, this means that you get access to teaching and to readings party. There is a seance on October 31st. So if you are wanting to attend the seance on October 31st, please, you have to join Mystics Academy. You have to be able to be a member to attend. It's an exclusive for members only. You can become a member. You can just join the readings tier if you want to just attend a readings party and maybe get a discount on readings. And otherwise, you're like, no, I'm good. That's all I want to attend, Hollis. That's fine. That's $11. And then there's another tier where you actually get teaching, where we do like, not only do you get the readings party and a discount on readings, but you also get a teaching video for adults about a different topic each month. This month was Samhain, and communicating with the other side, as well as like, that kind of thing. Okay, so communicating with the other side and Samhain, and that was the teaching video. And then there's two other lives other than the readings party. Then there's two other lives, which is like a teaching practice group and a meditation study group where we study some sort of meditation together. So you also get an insights email. There is a kid tier if you have kids that you want to learn witchcraft and mysticism along with, and including a family tier. So it was like a different types of ways to plug into the Mystics Academy. And so there's a lot going on.
And super affordable because it's starting off. So the rates at the beginning that you got to lock in at the beginning are very reasonable. And we hope to really see it grow. And as things accumulate and library of materials accumulate, the prices will go up as well. So this is a great value at this time. If you like to get readings, oh my God, it's a good value. You'll never get it at this low of a price, I promise you. So Mystics Academy is well worth checking out.
Yeah, so right now you pay $11, you save $25 on a reading, and you get to attend the readings party. I just it's kind of a no-brainer there. So you save $25 on any reading that you want, plus you get to attend the seance with me and Cheryl, Mama Cole. So there'll be two people at the two readers at the readings party. It'll be a couple hours, and we'll be doing readings for everyone in attendance. So, so we're pretty excited about that. And if you want to sign up for that, you want to get your ticket to that, you'll need to sign up at Mystics Academy. There, if you're like Hollis, I don't want to do monthly charges, that's fine. At Mystics Academy, there is a option. You'll have to pay more, but where you can like pay a one-time fee. I can't remember how much it is right now, but it's about $20-$30. So you can also do that. Yeah, it's still a good deal. So it's still a good deal, but it's not as good as right. Okay. So that's the link to Mystics Academy. So everyone, does anyone have any questions about astrology? This is a really great week to ask your questions about Mercury retrograde. We're amping up for Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is usually over dramatized and overly, yeah. So, so, uh, so if you have questions about it, right now we're in what we call the shadow period. Mercury is going to go retrograde in Sagittarius and Scorpio. And so we talk a lot about that in yesterday's broadcast. Hopefully you got a chance to listen to it. I have not posted the horoscopes yet, but they will be coming right after this. So, so what are your questions? Do you have any questions about Mercury retrograde? You can look in your chart, see where Scorpio and Sagittarius are. Where are they in your chart? That'll have a good idea of exactly where that's happening. So, take a look and see where that's at. Where are you at with that? Does anyone have any questions about Mercury retrograde?
Yeah, and while we get that conversation going, we can talk a little bit about Mercury. Hopefully, you did the meditation that we put out yesterday on the, really meeting Mercury. Mercury, of course, is the ruler of two different signs. It rules Virgo and Gemini. So, whenever there's a Mercury retrograde, those folks are aware of it. And some of us, myself included, we're born with Mercury retrograde. I believe it's something like 20%. I remember hearing that statistics once. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just putting it out there. So for us, when you kind of return to the way it was when you were born, it means it's familiar, doesn't it? And what we know about retrogrades is that retrogrades are a time to review, re-look at things, reassess what your intentions might be, how things may or may need to be adjusted. It's a time that a lot of people are aware of because collectively things seem to get wonky. So if you need to back up your computer, do it this week, right? This week, because it starts 11/9. Is that right, Hollis? 11/9 is when it actually begins, but the shadow period has already begun. So then it goes, Mercury is currently at the end of Scorpio, so it's going to go into Sagittarius. It's going to go all the way up to 6 degrees, and then it's going to hit that point of retrograde where it backs all the way back up into Scorpio over the time we're in right now. I think back to 20 degrees, I believe it is, Scorpio. And so during that time, we use it to check things. And we always say check twice, right? Maybe even 3 times, because it's a teacher, it's a review, it's important to validate and not rush in. And life goes on. We all have things that have to happen. So if you have to sign contracts or do things, check the details. Don't go, yeah, and just take things for granted in any way, shape, or form. That's what we're talking about. And get your car fixed now. Don't wait for something to break. You have a niggly feeling or you've been putting something off. This is that voice that says, if you've been putting something off, the time is now. Do it before before Mercury goes full retrograde. And 11/9 is an important date. It's in the future, but we all feel it when the initial change happens, like when the sun moves into a new sign. That first moment of change, we all feel it. That's why we talk a lot about the void of course moon, because the moon is constantly changing every 2.5 days, new sign. So that moment in between where it's like, whoa, we're going from today is Monday and the moon is in Capricorn.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And so of course that's an earth sign ruled by Saturn. One of the dominant themes that you see this week is a really big grand trine in water. And what that means is that grand trines bring things together quickly, and it's emotional. Water is emotional energy, right? Pisces, Cancer, Jupiter in Cancer. and Saturn and Neptune in its rulership in Pisces, and you have uh, Mars and Mercury pretty much traveling together in Scorpio. So water energy, it's emotional. Mercury and Mars working together can be combustible. Be careful about what you say and how you say it. Just going to say, because it's also trining Jupiter, so these things can just amplify. And the other thing that this week is sort of as well there's some minor trines, but there's also some pretty significant oppositions as we get into the weekend. And of course, opposition energy is exactly what it sounds like, oppositional. It's not easy, it's not comfortable, but it usually sort of forces us to do something or look at something or deal with something, and that's part of what this is all about. If you watch the forecast, you'll understand more about exactly what it means to you, as well if you watch the reels in the horoscope.
Okay. So what I wanted to also say is that so I never say that Mercury retrograde is bad. And this is why. Because so first what you should understand is that Mercury rules communication, transportation, technology, mostly because we use technology usually to communicate, and essentially messages. Sometimes Mercury is here to deliver messages to you. Okay. And so because it rules those things, when it goes retrograde, those things, any of those things could kind of get a little messed up. Now, Samantha was just saying that she was so glad that she followed her instinct, because last week my car was acting up weird and I was like, damn, I bet Mercury ready to do some stuff. So I took it in and got new brakes. And after watching the forecast, I'm so happy. Yeah, I'm glad you watched the forecast too, Samantha. Now, it doesn't exactly start, so we still have time to address those things. It doesn't start until November 9th, but now's a good time. I'm glad you got it addressed right away, Samantha, because you're absolutely right. And I always say, if Mercury's in its shadow, or Mercury retrogrades on the horizon, and you see that something might break, then you just want to go ahead and fix that. You just want to go ahead and fix it. And then then it probably won't break. But a lot of times, whatever breaks in the Mercury retrograde has already been giving you a warning. Mercury has already warned you during the shadow period, which is right now. Okay. And so that's why I'm saying during the shadow period of a Mercury retrograde, usually Mercury has already given you a warning. Now, Mercury retrograde will also have something to do with communication. Is there some communication issues? Is there miscommunications? Okay. And now, for people that are born with Mercury retrograde, such as Samantha Max, she proposed a great question. She said, my natal chart, I have Mercury retrograde, and I tend to communicate better when it's retrograde for some reason. But things around me do act up. And this is, I think, people with Bright Hawk was born with Mercury retrograde. And I think what the experience, from what I can tell, and Bright Hawk, you can speak more to this, is that essentially things kind of go okay for you for the most part, but other people seem to have a lot of mess. Other people have things that affect them, and sometimes those things affect you, but it's not you having the problem. It's someone around you that's having the problem, right?
Yes, and like I said, and every astrologer I've heard on the subject has said this, we all feel it, especially right at the beginning and the end, on those days where it looks like Mercury slows down and turns backwards, slows down, turns forward. That's all an illusion, right? This is all just an illusion about how things move. It doesn't actually go backwards. We're traveling at different speeds, and so there's that. It's like when you pass a car at different speeds and it almost looks like the other car's going backwards, right? That kind of illusion. So we'd all be in big trouble if if the universe if the planets actually went backwards. But what I've noticed at the beginning is that wonky thing. And I do not feel insulated from, especially when it comes to like technology and stuff like that. Like I've learned, you pay attention. Our car is in the shop now. We can pick it up in the next couple of days. So we're walking our talk on that one. The other thing Hollis has helped me notice, and it does seem to be true, that when Mercury is retrograde, I tend to break something, like a glass or usually a plate or whatever.
I wonder if that's because your Mercury's in a square to your Mars, natally.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And I never noticed it, but Hollis suddenly did. And then I was like, oh my God, you're right. So I try to be careful, but it's usually one of those things where it's falling out of your hand faster than you can go.
Crap happens.
So I think it happens to all of us, and whatever, you clean it up, right? So yeah, we're into that phase for sure. And then Bobby New Eyes, welcome, asked, is there an upside or a downside to the retrograde? And
I'd say both.
Yeah, and it also really has everything to do with where is your Mercury in conversation with what? Or do you have Gemini or Virgo placements, since those are Mercury ruled planets, signs? This one, I think we can all agree, has a certain amount of intensity to it because it's in Scorpio and Sag, because it's Mercury and Mars traveling together. That adds a lot of oomph and energy. Like, things have to get done. There's a vibe right now about things having to get done. I don't know if you feel that, but I certainly feel it in my life. And with the grand trine and the minor trines, there's energy to make things happen quickly. So it's really being aware. Jupiter will always ask you what you want, and that's part of this trine. And so there's a lot going on in that way.
Yeah, I want to speak to that real quick. In that, so sometimes when Mercury is retrograde, it's more about the aspects that are happening during that time. So if it's in a lot of squares and oppositions to things, it can create a bigger issue. The thing about this one is, like what Brighthawk was saying, is that there's actually like some trines and stuff that will be happening in regards to like aspects. So the Jupiter, there is a Jupiter, but Mercury is not part really of that conversation. And so once Mercury does go retrograde in Scorpio, in Sagittarius, when it goes retrograde on the 9th, it's not in any bad aspects at first, okay? And it doesn't really come into any major, there's some minor aspects that happen, but for the most part, the only time that it really there's a lot of trines, so there'll be a lot of things that will come together easily. There will be a bit of an opposition at some point. The strongest opposition will be around November 18th, which is in the middle, when Mercury is in opposite to Uranus and Taurus. So that's really, and it's going to be retrograde. So that's really the time that it's going to really kind of, that will be the peak. That will be like the 19th, the 18th, 19th, 20th in there. Those dates will be the hardest part of this entire transit. But then once Mercury continues to go backwards and Uranus is going backwards in the opposite direction, that will all be over, but there's also a trine going on at the same time. So let me just say that. So there'll be some stuff that could be hard to resolve. There will be an opposition with Uranus and Gemini I'm sorry, Uranus in Taurus. And so during that opposition, there could be some sort of opposition, but I'm really sure that after time, it will, once you start to get later in November, when you get to like the 22nd, the 23rd, that will start to lift and you'll figure out some sort of solution. You'll come to an understanding, and then it's going to go direct on the 29th, and that's at the end of the month. And you probably will completely resolve that problem, whatever it was, when Mercury comes back to that opposition point again with Uranus, which it will actually do around, but it's going to be doing it very fast. And so it will be a quick December 11th. It will come through and quickly opposite again. But at that point, you will have figured out some sort of solution to your problem and you will resolve it and life goes on. Okay. So if anything is going to be intense, and so what you want to do is to figure out where in your life that's going to affect you. That's going to be in your Taurus Scorpio transit. That's going to be in the opposition of Taurus and Scorpio. So Taurus is, what house does that rule for you? What area of your chart does that rule for you? And where is Scorpio? And so that's really going to tell you where it is. Uranus is a surprise, so it's hard to really say exactly what that is. But usually when Uranus transits happen, they're trying to kind of kick your ass onto the right track. They're kind of trying to kick you over. They're like, yeah, don't do that. And then they're just, or that's not going to happen. Let it go, or whatever like that. With this entire transit going through Scorpio, I'm going to say that you're going to have a major transformation in that area of your life where those transits are. So that's going to have a lot to do with your identity. It's going to have a lot to do, especially if you're a Scorpio sun. And I think Samantha said she has Pluto at 26 degrees Scorpio. Really, Samantha, I wouldn't be worried about that too much because this began at 20 degrees Scorpio, and it's actually going, oh yeah, I guess it will go over your Pluto, but that's probably going to make, I don't know what house it's in, but that will tell us exactly what part of your life it would have something to do with. And so when it goes over, when Mercury's directly on top, so that means when Mercury is at 26 degrees Scorpio, which it already did. I think that already happened, and it sounded like you dealt with it. It sounded like, so let's see, it was at 26 on October 25th, which was like Sunday first, like all my planets.
Identity.
Everything's in your first house, Samantha. So what did you deal with over the weekend? Friday, Saturday? What did you deal with? Was that your car? So that's your identity. You might have some shifts in about who you are and how you see yourself, or it could also be about your health. And with Pluto there, it would probably shift you in a direction that could help you, actually. It would probably shift you towards a better way of being. Is your Pluto retrograde or direct, your natal Pluto? So when Mercury goes over it, you'll feel it the most when it's directly on top. That will be the peak, which has already happened. And so it's already gone across there once, and now it will come retrograde on there again. Let's see what day that does that. Oops. Looks like it's going to do that very quickly on November 21st. So yeah. Okay. So Pluto is direct for you, Samantha. So what I would say, Samantha, is that since your Pluto is direct and Mercury's going retrograde over it, I would listen for any messages that come in. Have you gone to the doctor or anything like that? Have you been dealing with any health things? Did somebody tell you something about like congenital things or health things? Have you had any things like that? That's what I would be paying attention to. And then also I would be paying attention to anything that has to do with your identity, because that's where it's going to come in. That's, I mean, and also where is Virgo? So if you're a Scorpio rising, Virgo's in your 11th house. So that could be groups and people that you're involved in, people that influence you. Has anything happened with your friends? And then also your 8th house of shadow, which I think Gemini might rule your 8th or 9th house, depending on your chart. And so that's where you want to look. You want to kind of look where Gemini and Virgo is, and that could also add to your story. Okay, because Mercury is the ruler of it. Okay, and so it's going to go backwards. All right. Okay, and will my birth chart of okay, so Kim asked a question. I was born March 9th, 1978 in the Bahamas at 3:30 p.m. and I'll take a look at your chart, but I'm not sure I'm understanding your question. Will my birth chart affect how I deal with my healing after my mom and dad pass? I'm not really sure. Do you understand what she's asking, Braid Hawk?
So, one of the things that we look at when we look at astrology charts is each planet and each house obviously has a sign associated to it. And all of it is a conversation and a blueprint about who we are and how we arrived into this lifetime, and even points to some of what our purpose is, how we'll do relationships. So when we're trying to understand our mother relationships, we look at the moon, and we also look at some asteroids that are the female asteroids: Ceres, Pallas Athena, Lilith, and who am I missing? There's another one. Anyway, all of these speak to how the female energies work in our chart and what our relationships may have been with our mother. And then when we're looking at our relationship with our father, we look at our relationship with Saturn. Where is Saturn in the chart? What does authority look like in the chart? What sign? What house? All of these are things that we go over. If you book a reading, it's very in depth. And Hollis is particularly good, I'm just going to say. And so, yes, there's a lot revealed in your natal chart. There's tremendous amounts revealed.
I think what she's saying.
I think what she's saying, Bright Hawk, is, first of all, your chart, Kim, is your life map. So it has the answers to everything in your life. Well, Kim, I'm looking at your chart. You have a lot of 8th house activity, and your 8th house is ruled by Pisces, and currently the North Node is transiting there and will be there for the next year. So this is your destiny. Okay. This is like, no wonder you were supposed to lose your parents. Right now you're supposed to be dealing with death. And this is very much your shadow and your own relationship with life and death and gratitude and what it means to be alive, what it means to be dead. All of those things are coming up for you right now. And that's exactly what's supposed to be happening, Kim. actually, it's actually it's actually part of who you are right now, and this is a huge transition time for you. And then I will say you also have tons of asteroids, plus you have Uranus and Scorpio, which is exalted, but it's retrograde. So that's part of sometimes what makes your Pisces, your emotions and stuff like that, kind of hard to handle. But I would say that this Mercury retrograde is going to be particularly powerful for you, especially in relation to healing from your parents and stuff. So actually, I mean, there's so much aligned right here. I don't know if you know, but I do a cosmic grief reading, which is where I take a look at your parents' birth and death chart, and I put it together with your chart, and I come to help you understand exactly why they died at that time, what you're to learn from it. It's actually to be frank with you, as a medium, it was a way that I could answer questions for people that I couldn't answer as a medium, that were harder to answer as a medium. And so then I started using the astrology, and I found that it was so accurate. It was so amazing. It blew my mind. So I started doing this thing called a cosmic grief reading, which is one of the most powerful readings ever. I'm the only person in the world that does it that I'm aware of at this time. Okay. And I mean, some people do grief readings where they use astrology to look at your grief. But rare. It's still a rare thing. But I do mediumship mixed with the grief reading. And so I kind of put the two together. And the astrology grief, I think, is really powerful because it helps you understand what you're supposed to learn from those relationships, particularly if any of those relationships were strained at all, or if there was parts of it that you were like, why did she do that? Or coming to understand the dynamics of your family. Yeah, Kim, I think you need to look at your astrology chart. I think there was a reason that you reached out to me today, because you were right away like, is this in my astrology chart? And I'm kind of like, yeah, of course it is. Everything's in your astrology chart, frankly. Everything you need to know about your life is in your chart. And I don't even know how people can get along in life without looking at their astrology chart. I wouldn't make any major decisions without looking at an astrology chart. I would just be, I just take it one step at a time, and I'm aware of how things are. And so I'm just going to say that, Kim, um yes, no strain to your relationships. I didn't see anything about relationships. Oh, you mean with your family, with your parents? Uh-huh. Um okay, that's fine. Your father probably looks like he brought a lot of networking in. And I can also see that your relationship with your mother. Do you have any siblings, Kim? Your relationship with your mother was very destined. It's like from a past life or something. Um, so that's interesting. And it's in Aries, so it almost makes me wonder um what kind of life you and your mother had in a past life. So, okay. But your mom, I I'm not saying that you guys had a strained relationship. I'm just saying that that's how the cosmic grief reading works. It helps people in a lot of ways in that way. It helps people that do have strained relationships. It also helps people understand death and their relationship with death. And I think that that's kind of what you're inquiring about, Kim. And that's understandable because you have a packed eighth house, which is the house of death. Um, so you have what we would call a stellium. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 planets in the South Node. So from a past life, oh, you have an older sister who's an Aries and a mom who is Aries. Of course you do. And so with all that stuff in the 8th house, it tells me that you are here to let go of the part of you that would like to control when life and death happens. There's a part of our soul that would like to control that, and we don't really have control over that. Doctors and nurses like to think they do, but I assure you that they do not. And so it's kind of a funny thing, actually. But there's something about death that you're here to learn. Okay, and I'm betting it's about acceptance. I don't know. I'll have to look closer at your mom's chart and your mom's death chart. And once we look at that, that will tell us exactly why she died when she died and exactly what you were meant to learn at that moment. And that's the beauty of astrology, you know. And there is a Mercury retrograde that we're gearing up for right now, Kim. And that's exactly why we're here. That's exactly why we're live today, to answer questions about how do I navigate a Mercury retrograde? How can astrology help me with that? And I just, like I said, you know, you have until November 9th to, you know, get your car in the shop to fix that thing that's already kind of been not working so well anyway. You know, that kind of thing. So Mercury retrograde is definitely happening. If you have felt a shift, if you have felt things that want to shift, things that want to happen, perspectives and belief systems, you're going to have major shifts. Everyone's going to have a major shift during this Mercury retrograde. And Kim said, I realized after being with my dad on his final journey, doctors kept saying it was today. Bye, Dad kept on hanging out with me. But my dad kept hanging out with me. Interesting. Well, that's interesting, Kim. Yeah, we'll have to take a look at the astrology of that and see what was going on there. Maybe there was a reason for that. Maybe you guys are soulmates or something like that. It's hard to say. Yeah, so, you know, there's powerful, if you ever wondered if your family was destined, the answer is yes. Usually it's powerfully destined. Usually the people in your family are here to teach you something and you're here to teach them. Even if sometimes for some people they're in strained relationships and they're like, man, my family sucks. And I'm like, yeah. And did you walk away from them? And they're like, yeah, I don't even talk to her anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you were here to stand up to them. And, you know, those are catalytic people. Those are catalysts. There are lots of different kinds of people. Some of us are very connected to our parents and we're meant to hold their hands at the end of their life. We're meant to walk them through the door of death. We're meant to be with them and survive it. Sometimes we're meant to lose our spouse because we have something to learn about being independent. So there's so many stories, so many different scenarios, and you can find that all in the astrology chart for sure. The cosmic grief reading is one of the most powerful readings I've ever done, to be honest with you. And you can see it in the reviews. If you go to my mediums group or you just go to Google and look up Hollis Taylor and Divine Androgen, see it right there, Divine Androgen. If you just put Hollis Taylor astrologer, you'll get my reviews. You'll see my page and you'll see my Google reviews. And most of them are for my astrology reading. Okay. So, it's a really powerful reading and it takes me a good hour to get it done. And I'm squeezing it in that hour. I'm doing a lot in that hour. I've even had people just get 2 of them, especially in your situation, Kim, because they have more than one person they want me to go over. So then they're like, I'm just going to get 2 or 3 of them. I'm going to do a series, Hollis. So sometimes people even get a package. And, you know, on that note, Kim, I am doing a we're doing a seance on October 31st, which is actually Friday night. And I would love to invite you to become a member of Mystics Academy. You can save money on readings, including readings package, and you get to save money on it and on a reading, and you get to attend the readings party. Okay, so and the readings party is every month. Actually, we'll be doing one every month, and I would love to have you there. I'm sure that readings can really help you heal, I think, from that. So, yeah, you can just go to my website. And like I said, you'll see the Mystics Academy link on my website. And I would encourage you to check it out. Just see if it's something you want to try. It's called Patreon. There's a couple of different tiers. You might be interested in the readings tier, unless you're interested in learning how to connect on your own. Some people will join as a novice mystic for that, because I also teach others how to connect. So how to connect on their own. It's a good way to heal grief, is to learn how to connect. So if anyone else has any other questions about the astrology, about the upcoming Mercury retrograde in Scorpio and Sagittarius, just put them in the comments. I do find that I think this Mercury retrograde is going to be a powerful transformation for all of us.
I just wanted to welcome Donna. I saw your comment over on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, Donna's a Gemini. Gemini's ruled by Mercury. That's why we're having this conversation. So I'm not sure what the house is for you, but where Scorpio lies. But that's absolutely going to speak to the houses. Tell us again, if you want to check out our course. We've talked about this before. We put together a little a quick, easy little manual that helps you understand your big three, how to find your rising, your moon. Obviously, most people know their zodiac, their sun sign. And then if you want to go a little deeper, we have a whole astrology course. So check it out. If you become part of the Mystics Academy, this will become available to you at an unbelievable price. So like $11 a month isn't very much to do all the stuff that Hollis is offering. It's kind of crazy. It's so accessible. So anyway, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your questions, your interactions. It's really made this conversation very fun. Is there any new comments?
I don't know. While you take a look for that, I just want to say that the Gemini part of that, Gemini, you're going to definitely experience the Mercury retrograde, and it could be anything, just look and see where Scorpio, Sag are on your chart, and that will tell you where in your life it will be. And, for those of us that are Virgos or Geminis, will feel it the most. Scorpio and Sag will also feel it intensely. And like I said, remember to check out, hey, Bobby, the actual broadcast, the actual forecast is already posted on YouTube. And then after this, you'll start seeing all the reels of the individual horoscopes. But if you go to my website, you can read the horoscopes. Those are also available, but you can catch this live. This live broadcast is like what we call a Q&A. It's like where you can come and ask questions about astrology, or ask questions about the broadcast or about your horoscope or whatever. And I'm happy to try to answer them for you, because one of the things that I learned when I was studying astrology, and as I got more and more into it, was that I could read all day in the book, but I didn't learn as much as I did until I started to go to video classes. And then when I had a place where I could ask questions, it became easier, because I felt like it really helped you kind of click things in. Because I felt like just reading, I don't know, it didn't quite sink in right. And maybe that's because I have Mercury in the 12th house, but it's hard to say. So half the time I'm talking backwards and I don't even know I'm doing it. So if I'm talking backwards, please just let me know. And so So, you know, when Mercury goes retrograde, um, it's don't try to see it as like this dramatic, oh my God, terrible things are gonna don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. It's really not going to be a good thing. Instead, just be open and prepared. And if something does go down, if something does happen, then you can be like, oh, this is Mercury retrograde. So I just need to get through this. And I'm sure when I get to the other side, it will make more sense. And we'll be leading into a direction that will lead us into better space. So, you know, I'm just saying that Mercury retrograde is not all bad. Most of the time, anytime we have any transit, there's never a bad transit. That's a very black and white type of astrology that I don't practice. That I'm more of a, this is meant to be, and we are transforming, or we are changing, or we are learning from this experience, and we're headed and being pushed or directed or guided into this direction, which feels better to me because, even though I grew up Catholic, I don't like to believe that the universe is out to get me or hurt me, or that I'm a victim of the universe. I actually don't like to think that at all. Sometimes I do think that, and I hate when I do. So I actually don't like thinking like that. It doesn't really serve me well. It doesn't really help with my self-esteem. It doesn't help with my perspective in life. And what actually works better is if I recognize that we're all in a cycle, in a transition. We're all changing and transforming all the time, and we're being guided and pushed in certain directions, and we just have to listen to that guidance so that we can just keep going. And I feel like when we resist what the universe is trying to tell us is usually when we get into trouble. But if we listen and allow our wings to be spread, when we are open to change, when we are more open-minded, I find that life is easier to navigate. Like, I mean, I just think that if you live a life where you feel like you're a victim of the universe, it's probably not a very fun place to live. So Bobby said, I endeavor to keep a positive attitude no matter what's going on any given day. Every morning I remind myself it's another day in paradise. And where do you live, Bobby? But Bright Hawk's dad said that, but they lived in California, so
I think it.
You still think it, yeah. And I mean, I think positive things too. It was so funny. I homeschool my grandchildren, and every day, some days we do this thing called the Big Life Journal. If you're interested in self-help and self-care, there's a Big Life Journal for adults and children. And so this morning it said, ask your journal buddy, and I'm her journal buddy. Ask your journal buddy, what is something that's really wonderful that happened to them today? And I told her every morning, I am grateful to be alive, and I'm grateful to meet her and teach her today. And the look on her face was like this. Like, she couldn't believe that she was such a beautiful blessing in my life every day, that her and Rowan, her brother, were a beautiful blessing. And I was grateful that they were both cooperative in doing their schoolwork. And I was grateful for that. And I was grateful for having a beautiful day and being alive and being able to do my thing. And so that's what it's about. It's about learning to be grateful and positive every day. Of course, Bobby. And so, Bobby, you live in New Jersey. I don't know where you live in Jersey, but there's some beautiful parts of New Jersey that maybe you can get in touch with nature every day, and you can step outside and be grateful that you're alive. Be grateful that you can breathe in the fresh air, and be grateful that you can feel the cool breeze on your body. And and I'm grateful that I can feel the energies of Samhain. I can sense the energy shifting, and I'm grateful for all of those things. I'm grateful for my life. Oh, well, Bobby, we understand that. Are you moving too? Oh my gosh, Bobby, that's so weird because it sounds like you're trying to move and so are we. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm wondering if it's the astrology, Bobby. Maybe has it just come up or are you selling your house or whatever? That's interesting. Okay, well, we don't have to have this. We don't have this friend. We don't need to have this friendly conversation here in the live. But anyway, we should connect with you off. We should connect with you in private. We are. I am. Bright Hawk and I are working to move. So just so you know, it shouldn't affect us a whole lot. Like it's going to take us a while to get that going. So could be months before we actually move. We have no idea. So we're just moving on. So there it is. It's out in public. So there, we said it. Well, then people can know. But it shouldn't affect Mystics Academy. It shouldn't affect our live. We're going to actually work on doing the broadcasts ahead of time. That's what I'm hoping we can do, is try to get ourselves ahead of the game. It would be nice to sit around the fire with you again, Bobby, for sure. Big love to you, bro. All right. So if there's any more questions about Mercury retrograde or astrology in general, we're happy to answer them. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up our question and answer here. And we're so happy that you all joined us and tuned in for this. And remember, you can bring your questions every Monday to our live Q&A, and make sure you check out the broadcast that we've already released. It's on YouTube. If you're already on YouTube, you should be able to find it, but I'm going to post the link to it directly in just a second. And that is all about what you'll be experiencing. And like I said, if hopefully you're subscribe to our YouTube or to our Facebook, and you will be able to see the reels of the horoscopes coming up. Also, I've posted like a written version of the horoscopes. I've posted it on Patreon, Substack, and on my blog. Okay, and I've sent it out in an email. So if you're on my email list, you've also gotten it. Otherwise, look out for the reels that will be coming up soon.
Have a beautiful, blessed Samhain this week, and many great wishes for you to have a successful month, week, Scorpio season, and big blessings. We hope you enjoy. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology and for participating. It's been great having this conversation with you. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology. We're trying to be a bridge between you and the stars. Thanks so much.
Oh my God. Bobby.